Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, the Clone Commander, back with another Star Wars video. Now, today we're doing something a little different from the everyday Star Wars history and lore videos, and we're actually doing a tier list with every single Star Wars and series up to 2020. Now, I've already organized them all in a chronological order, so we'll sort them by that. And if you guys like this kind of video where I show my face, and it's not just a Star Wars history video, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe while you're at it. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace was... okay, admittedly, I love it, but I'm gonna put it in A. Actually, no, I am gonna put it in S. Qui-Gon's always been one of my favorite, and I don't think people give Qui-Gon Jinn the respect he deserves, because we follow him for really the entirety of the Phantom Menace. And it marks the beginning of the prequel trilogy. Personally, my favorite trilogy. It's way better than the sequels by far. I think everybody can agree on that if you're remotely a Star Wars fan. And Padme and Anakin, and it was all just great. And we really found out the history of the Skywalker family on Tatooine. And it introduced one of my favorite Sith ever, Darth Maul, who grew into one of, if not the biggest villain throughout the Clone Wars. Well, Palpatine was probably the biggest, but next up we have Attack of the Clones. I'm gonna put it in C because I loved the movie. I love the movie. But it marked a time where George Lucas made the Star Wars movies more and more kid-friendly. Now, Jar Jar Binks, of course, was kind of the start of that, but it marked the beginning of the Clone Wars, and the Clone Wars was one of, if not the biggest event in Star Wars history. And it sparked a bunch of series that, personally, are my favorite part about Star Wars. And I think most people can agree with that. And it really sparked the interest between Anakin and Padme, and soon they would have Leia and Luke. Oh boy. The 2003 Clone Wars 2D animated series. I'll give it a B. I will give it a B. The animation style was not my favorite, I will admit that. But, it was still a good show. It had good storylines, it had most every villain you can think of, and most good guys. And it really, sadly it's not deemed as canon by Disney anymore, but I don't think it will ever live up to its predecessor, Star Wars The Clone Wars. The longest running Star Wars series to date, just ended this year, and it was perfect. It had amazing elements for kids and real Star Wars fans to enjoy, and that ending, I'm not gonna spoil it because I don't want to have to put a bunch of spoiler warnings, but oh my gosh, it progresses in such an amazing way. We literally follow Ahsoka since she was a youngling to when she left the Jedi Order, and now she's gonna be in the Mandalorian in the Kenobi series, which is something I'm very excited for. And I think most people can agree with me on that one. And Clone Wars will always be my favorite, hands down, favorite Star Wars movie or series ever. It tops any movie in my opinion. And we also see the progression of Anakin from when he was a Jedi and then to when he wanted to be a Sith. And it's just perfect. And I'm gonna get over it. So we're going with Episode 3. Episode 3 I'm going to put an A. I love it. It's awesome and it's so iconic. And really it's just, that final battle on Mustafar has stuck with everybody since it came out. Oh boy. Solo. Okay. Unpopular opinion. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Now, I know a lot of my fellow OG Star Wars fans, and I think I can call myself an OG Star Wars fan. I've been a fan of Star Wars for 14 years, so No need to brag. But Solo was a Disney movie, and my feeling on Disney Star Wars movies has always been one that I haven't had a great relationship with. But Solo I really liked. Han Solo has always been one of my favorite characters, and I'm glad that they chose to make his origin story into a movie, because, I mean, Han Solo was one of those people we knew nothing about, and it combined not just Han Solo, but Lando Calrissian, another amazing character. And oh my gosh, that ending where we saw Darth Maul. I'll be honest, that's the only reason I watched it, because I wanted to see Darth Maul. And that brought in the thought that maybe we'll have a live-action Darth Maul, which would be something amazing. And I'm wondering if they'll put that in The Mandalorian, because they've already cast it out for Ahsoka Tano and Grand Admiral Thrawn, but a live-action Darth Maul is something I would love to see. Rebels. If there was an F tier or anything below it, I would put Rebels at the very bottom of this list. Rebels is the most horrendous thing to ever come from Disney. Star Wars in general. I'm saying it. And this was made during a time when the Clone Wars was still a thing. And Clone Wars was just, like I said, the most amazing thing ever. And I don't know whether it's the animation style of Rebels or the elements of it, but it looks horrible. It is horrible. Every single episode is worse than the rest. The characters suck. The characters suck. I'm saying it. I only watched Rebels. Because I wanted to see some of the older characters. Example, there's an episode where we see Captain Rex and Commander Wolf and all the other clone commanders. Clone commander. And it's amazing because we see Kanan Jarrus, a former Jedi, who was scared of the clones because of Order 66. They could have progressed with that episode so amazing. But Disney crumpled it up, threw it in the trash. And you can tell that this was made strictly for kids because there's no death. I'm not counting on-screen, off-screen deaths or deaths of minor characters like rebel soldiers or anything. Clone Wars had a lot of deaths. And the main characters, they weren't scared to just kill a character. But Rebels... And you can really tell that they tried to make Star Wars fans love it. That's why IGN reviewed every episode. But I just can't come to love it, and I have a resentment for it for that. Rogue One, my favorite Disney movie from Star Wars. It is the best Star Wars movie to come from Disney, and I think most people can agree with me on that Rogue One was the best, because it incorporated elements from the old Star Wars movies and the new Star Wars movies, and it put them together in such... it even had stuff from the books, the Legends books, that I assure you not many people read but me. The Death Troopers were one great example of this, in the sense that they took zombie stormtroopers and put them into the movies. And I think you guys can agree with me on that Rogue One is a movie that should be hailed by Star Wars fans and new fans alike. That's why I'm putting it in S tier. I love it. I think it is one of, if not the best, Star Wars movie ever. And that's a big thing, because it's Disney. And we'll get to the Disney movies later, guys, trust me. But I think we should just move on. I'm going to get in over my head. Now, Star Wars A New Hope. S tier, I feel like I have to put an S tier just because it was the first Star Wars movie. It marked the beginning of my favorite thing ever, and it's just perfect in every way. And it was so ahead of its time. It was made in the 70s. The 70s. And it had a great... the ships, the lightsabers, the blasters. It was amazing. It was amazing, and you can't tell me one thing that was bad about A New Hope. If I had to critique one thing, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. The costume design and everything, and the soundtrack, John Williams nailed it. It was perfect, and it got so many awards for that, just the soundtrack alone. And Darth Vader, and Luke, and Leia, and everybody, it was just perfect. Anthony Williams as C-3PO is it's just the best acting I've ever seen. Now, The Empire Strikes Back, I'm going to put an A tier. I love The Empire Strikes Back. I just don't love it as much as the others, because Star Wars was already gaining hype through the years, and it was already... George Lucas just got in over his head. Return of the Jedi. S tier. S tier, and it was revitalized through the magic of the 2011 remaster, which incorporated Anakin as Luke's dad. If you guys would excuse me for 1 second. Please pardon that. What were we talking about? Return of the Jedi. Now, Return of the Jedi was amazing. The opening thing with Jabba was one of my favorite things ever. Han Solo and Carbonite, just perfect. Carrie Fisher, rest her soul, was an amazing actor for this. And Jabba the Hutt, the whole costume was just amazing. I loved it, and it had some of the most iconic, like, the revelation that Luke and Han Solo, I said Han Solo, Darth Vader were father and son. And that was also revitalized through the prequels. And I don't think anyone else could have done that but George Lucas. And I think everyone will agree with me on that. Oh boy, The Mandalorian. I'm going to put it in C tier. I never really liked it. I like the fact that they're bringing Yoda's species in more. So it's not just Yoda and Yaddle that are the only members in the species, but now you have the child. And I like that they are bringing in the Mandalorian people into live action. And I've already said that they casted Ahsoka Tano for live action and Grand Admiral Thrawn, possibly Darth Maul. Possibly. But we'll never know until they make the Season 2, which has already been cleared for. And I would get Disney Plus just for The Mandalorian. It's a great movie. And it takes place in a time that we've never really seen before. It takes place after the fall of the Empire, but before the First Order has really risen up into power. So, I like it for that reason, but I wouldn't call it awful, and I wouldn't put it in anything above C. Force Awakens. Wow. This is another one of the Disney movies that I've warmed up to over the years, so I'm gonna put it in B for that reason. Really? Yeah. And it's really warmed up to me over the years. Rey as a character, I still don't like. I'll get into that in another video. Maybe I'll do a character tier list video. But, Kylo Ren. I really like that they introduced literally the son of Leia and Han Solo to be a Sith. So he already has Skywalker blood in him. And I'm happy they introduced the crossguard lightsaber, which fans of Knights of the Old Republic would already know as a weapon. And I know a lot of people were mad at Disney because they took, I'm not getting political in this video, but they took a lot more progressive turns, especially with Finn looking the way he is, and not like Jango Fett like most Stormtroopers were, but I like it because they introduced, in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the video game, Project Resurrection, where they kidnapped the children and made them Stormtroopers, and that's how we found out Finn was actually, you know, a thing. So, I'm just gonna put in fine. I wouldn't call it awful. I wouldn't say I love it, but it's fine. Star Wars Resistance. Awful. I hate it for the same reason I like Rebels. It's like they took the 2003 Clone Wars series and Rebels and made it into a show that's just unsavory. I don't think anybody watched it. I watched a few episodes of it and hated it. So maybe I'm not the best to give my 2 cents on it. Golly. Let's just get into it. Last Jedi. I'm just gonna tell you guys, these last few are not good. This Jedi sucks. I'm gonna put it over here because I think it's worse. Maybe not worse than Rebels, but it's probably my least favorite. Like, I hate it more than Rise of Skywalker, and I hate Rise of Skywalker a lot. Let's get into why I hate Last Jedi. They don't know crap. They don't. They don't know anything about the Sith. They don't know anything. I say they as in Disney. Disney knows nothing. They don't... Oh my gosh. Don't even get me into that pink-haired devil of a woman at the Admiral Holdo. Ugh. Such an unsavory character. And Carrie Fisher. This was made after the death of Carrie Fisher, and they were going to kill Leia off initially, but then they brought her back to life, and I don't know, there's something about just seeing Carrie Fisher being brought back to... It's just unsettling to me. And I'm sorry, I don't like it. Luke, I wish Mark Hamill knew better, and I think Mark Hamill does know better, and he's just in it for the money at this point. Let's be honest here, folks. Rise of Skywalker. C. Putting in a C. I only like it because it brought back Palpatine. And, so that would make... Hold on. Palpatine is Rey's grandfather, so technically she already has Sith blood in her. I wish Rey turned to the dark side. I really do. And I already made a video all about Rey and her new yellow lightsaber. I will put the link in the description down below. If you haven't already seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. We go in depth about why Rey's lightsaber is yellow. And Kylo Ren, you know, Kylo Ren is so bipolar. He goes from bad guy, good guy, bad guy, good guy. Now he's bad guy. It's so confusing to me. Well, let's review. In S tier, we have Phantom Menace, the Clone Wars series, Rogue One, A New Hope, and Return of the Jedi. In A, we have Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Empire Strikes Back. In B, we have the 2003 Clone Wars series, Solo: A Star Wars Story, and Star Wars: The Force Awakens. In C tier, we have... I said Attack of the Clones up here. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm at Episode 3. In C tier, we have Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, The Mandalorian, and Rise of Skywalker. In D, awful. Can we just put it as F? F is how bad it is. Actually, no, just